Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining us and welcome to the Founders in LA podcast. I'm your host, Ethan Cole, and this is an opportunity to shine the spotlight through the product lens on some of the exceptional founders we have as part of the LA community in an unedited, one take organic conversation. With us today in the room is Celine Tamer, fresh off the stage from Techstars LA Demo Day. Thanks so much for coming down, Celine.
Thanks, Ethan. It's so good to be here.
Oh, I'm excited. This is going to be a great one. I can't wait. But first, a word from our sponsors. Founder in LA is brought to you by Unita. Unita Club is a co-working space that sets itself apart. With locations in El Segundo, Manhattan Beach, and Hermosa, Unita is where creativity flourishes. Unlike traditional offices, they provide an inspiring environment where ideas can thrive and businesses can grow. With Unita, there's no hidden fees, flexible terms, options for dedicated offices, and unlimited access to conference rooms, a photo studio, and a podcast studio, plus standard and 3D printers and 24/7 access at any of their locations. They're local champions who support neighborhood businesses, open their event spaces to nonprofits, and celebrate art, music, and culture. Join United Club and experience co-working like never before. Learn more at www.unita.club. That's www.unita.club. We're also brought to you by the Product Manager Association Los Angeles, available at pma.la. They're the largest professional organization for product and designers in LA. With more than 3,000 members from over 500 companies, they host monthly meetups, organize a product leader council, and have a mentorship program where they connect working product managers with students from underrepresented groups to build a better and more diverse next gen. To learn more about PMA, go to pma.la. To learn more about the mentorship program, go to pma.la/mentorship. Our guest today is Celine Tamer. She's the co-founder and CEO of Cubtale. Now, Celine, could you just give us a 30-second description of Cubtale?
Absolutely. So Cubtale is a platform that's designed to reduce the anxiety that comes with parenting. We provide personalized product, expert, and content recommendations to parents as they make progress in their journeys.
That's great. So and the focus is on the personalization, I imagine, because, as a father of two, both under 3 years old right now, there's no shortage of like books out there, but the books really tend to be general, and there's websites and there's podcasters, but this idea of personalization of your kids, their routines. And I was fortunate enough to catch your demo day presentation for Techstars, and there's a physical device as well as an app, and it looked like the physical device was one of those I don't know how to describe them. Those kind of those buttons that Amazon used to have where you'd buy something, or like those buttons like you'll see in a restroom that says, how are we doing, a smiley face or a frowny face. I imagine that works into the personalization for how your kids are behaving at that moment in their stage of development.
It's absolutely true. So in order for us to provide you the best experience, when you're dealing with a newborn, and especially when you're new with it, there are so many questions that parents need responses for. And a lot of times these questions require a lot of research, a lot of reading, a lot of product discovery, a lot of meetings with various people, whether it's other parents or experts or consultants or pediatricians.
Feeling like a failure.
Feeling like a failure, exactly. And our solution is basically taking general knowledge, content from American Academy of Pediatrics,
Okay.
World Health Organization, and CDC. So medical guidelines, and then turning that into first a journey-based approach. So some content is already established and really available. It's just a matter of presenting it to you at the right time.
Right.
First couple of weeks, you're experiencing breast pain as you're breastfeeding. Maybe later on, you're now starting to think about potty training and all these other things that come as your child grows. And first is we make that content available to you as you make progress. Number 2 is there's also a lot of products that support you in that journey. And a lot of times you pass that stage and you haven't even heard about it.
Right.
Yet you come back and say like, oh, this would be amazing if I had it. So that's the second part. We will be presenting you products that are going to be helpful for you as you care for your child.
So product discovery is part of it.
Product discovery. And then experts like lactation consultants, sleep consultants, behavioral consultants, people who could really help you in that specific point in time, and presenting them to you at the right time. What the little devices do, it's really an optional component. It's nothing that is a required, it's not a required experience, but it really makes it a lot easier for multiple caregiver homes. So if you have like a grandma, a nanny, or someone helping you out in the house, and as a working parent, maybe you want to stay informed about what's going on while you're away, these little buttons make it super easy to track routine care. The routine activities that pediatricians typically ask us to keep track of, like feeds, diapers, medicine. You want to stay on top of it. You don't want to miss it. These little buttons that are designed to be placed exactly where care takes place makes it easy for all these caregivers who are involved in the caregiving process to log the data and keep the family coordinated.
Well, that's really interesting. So part of what the buttons will do is they will make it easier for folks who may not be as technologically savvy to enter this information into the, let's call it the data lake, for your kid. And I imagine also there'd be a component where like you could potentially receive push notifications to your phone every time, if you wanted to know every time like the kid goes down, or every time there's a diaper and what kind of diaper it is. So that, so you're helping facilitate the spread of information of what's happening with your kid on a micro level, especially for parents who may not be there at that moment. They have caretakers for young kids.
Exactly. Plus, it also allows the parents to get access to a report that they can eventually take back to their pediatrician. And so when you go for your pediatrician visit and they ask you all these questions about like how often, how frequent, what's going on, how much milk, you basically have a full report that they can take a look at and understand what's going on. And if there's discrepancies, we can also highlight those moments in the report so your pediatrician is also well informed.
That's amazing. So this is a very specific place you found yourself. I imagine there's a story behind how you are dedicating your life to this. So like, how did you find yourself as the co-founder and CEO of this company?
Yeah, absolutely. There's definitely a lot of correlations. So the story starts with my own professional experience. I'm an engineer, and starting from my first job, I've been building tools that personalize experiences. My first job was at Citibank, and I was working on building the software that basically provides the credit limits and the APRs and the decisions of approving and declining your credit card application.
Okay.
So a lot of logic going back in analyzing who you are as a person, what your history looks like, and then making a decision based off of your historical data and attributes. And then I did the same software again for another bank, Santander. And then my third job was this time at AT&T.
Okay.
And they were building this time the software to personalize offers for customers who are calling in and looking for billing support. And so my tool would basically decide what is the best offer to pitch to this customer, whether it's like I'll give you a free HBO or I'll give you a free hardware upgrade. Could be anything, really based on what that person looks like, what they enjoy, what they do, looking at all those attributes and making that decision and feeding some machine learning into it. So really experienced with how data can be used and how it can turn into something meaningful. And then
Yeah.
I had 2 back-to-back kids. Got exposed to a lot of data, which was my database.
Oh, interesting.
And, I was quite well prepared for the journey. If you consider, I had read all the books,
Okay.
flew parents overseas for support, um, read, bought all the products that are out there that could help me with that process. But yet still, I missed so many things. I was late on so many milestones. I even missed vaccinations. And, that's not the type of parenting I wanted to provide for my
Right.
child. And that's where the idea of Cubtale started, where, if we could put together a platform that could actually utilize both the overall learnings that are already been established by various organizations, as well as that child's personal journey, we could actually make parenting a lot easier than it is, and give you the recommendations, the content, the products, everything that you need before you even know that you need it. So it all tied together, I guess, both the personal experience from raising a family and my career came together.
Yeah, it's this background in developing and decision making based on the data set in front of you, which is what I keep coming back to, which is interesting, is like the journey of parenthood, especially early parenthood, whether it's the first time you're doing it or when you've the first time you have two, or God help you if you have two at the same time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's like there's a constant wonder of, am I doing the right thing? Am I missing something? And yeah, there's this huge library of information that's out there, but it's really about getting the right information at the right time, especially if you as a parent aren't looking for it. I think a lot of times you get stuck in that moment of, okay, we're just trying to survive. We're in survival mode. We're trying to just make sure the house is in a reasonable state, and the diapers are done, and all these things, and their kid is fed, and all the bottles and all the the pumping and all the challenges that come with it. A lot of times you get caught up in that and you lose sight of these milestones that are coming ahead of you. And so it also sounds like Cubtail is providing parents with not just insights on how their kid is within the range of that age group, but also, hey, keep an eye out, look for this thing that's coming up. It might not be on your radar, but right now, but it's almost like this personalized, almost concierge, right?
Exactly.
To help walk you through it.
Exactly. And that's where I think like us being able to learn from our users is becoming helpful, because we can now approximate when they start thinking about starting solids. And so we now have a timeline of when to prepare them for solids, for example, or when typically diaper trainings start and what to consider when you're getting into that diaper training routine, or if you're ready for a diaper routine or not, or a diaper training or not. And as your child grows, being able to add additional support mechanisms, whether it's community driven or other additional recommendations for starting school or going back to work, or starting sports, starting extracurricular activities, whatever it may be, providing you that kind of support in that journey.
And maybe in that idea of community, of almost in real time having someone who's going through the same thing as you, someone you can potentially, at least message with, or at least know that there's someone else out there. I feel like there's cool options for like anonymized data where you could just know that someone else is going through it at the same time. And I feel like for whatever reason that makes it more bearable, or
absolutely does.
Yeah,
it so much does. Like, I think like knowing that, someone else out there is dealing with a premature baby, or is dealing with twins or whatever it may be, and being able to ride that journey and ride that ride with them is it certainly makes the experience a lot more fun, right?
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing more about Cubtale. I'd like to ground this back in LA. So I guess Celine, what's the most LA thing that's happened to you or that you've been a part of?
I think I got this. The most LA thing that has happened to me is I ran out of gas on 405 and then got
Yes.
saved by a homeless person.
Oh, interesting. Oh, that's a very LA thing. Okay.
I totally did. Just for some unknown reason. I guess I decided to ignore my alerts.
I've written. There's a whole Seinfeld episode about riding on empty. Yeah, you always think you can make it. There's a lot left in that tank than they say.
Yeah, and the worst part is it was like 9 a.m. on a weekday or something. Like I was trying to get to work in El Segundo, and my biggest responsibility was not to block crossroads, right? Like, at that point.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I actually did that, and luckily I was supported by a homeless guy who pushed my car and saved me and got me into a gas station.
Oh, that's amazing. That is a very LA thing. That's fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us, and thank you for coming down to the studio.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. Awesome. Thanks for letting me share.
Yeah, this is great. I just want to thank our guest one more time, Celine Tamer. She's the co-founder and CEO of Cubtale. I'd like to thank our sponsors, PMA LA and Unida. I'd like to thank you all for listening to us. And if you like what you hear, please smash that subscribe button. Thanks again for joining us, and we'll catch you next time on Founders in LA.